This one actually we're really excited about. So saw the dragon, a link to that at the end. But to me personally, this is the sexiest of all the Qanba lineup. I know.
And also,
crazy.
It may have met some other needs that we were talking about, like in terms of size. This guy coming in at 6.6 pounds is about half the size of the dragon, so it's a little easier to carry around your back. I was speaking to old A4 Andre the other day, and he said he
I
liked
love A4 Andre.
Great man, check out his stream. But he was saying that he actually liked the size of the dragon and the weight because he's a Geef player sometimes, and when you turn the butter, you don't have to worry about the stick moving all over.
Makes
so
sense.
there are some benefits out there for other people.
That's true.
I don't play Geef, so I kind of like the smaller size as well as, you know, being able to carry it around my back all day.
Yeah, I prefer this over the dragon just in terms of comfortability. Is that a word?
Comfortability.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it just feels good on the lap, feels good on the surface, it doesn't matter. It's nice.
So we'll start with the casing on this guy, and the casing is incredibly solid. So this kind of features like more like that unibody feel like the Hori has, but it's got the aluminum sides, and then this top piece is one solid fixture.
Amazing.
Might as well have your hands on a 2x4, made in heaven.
Aluminium 2x4.
Aluminium 2x4 we have. So that guy is awesome. Out of the gate, they also improved on some of the other hardware that they've used previously on like the crystal and the drone and the carbon, those types of things. This is a Sanwan JLF with the metallic ball top.
You don't say.
It is.
Speaking of gates, square, as you expected.
Comes with square. These, you know the click, it's a Sanwa button. In terms of the actual build quality of the stick, it's through the roof. Right? And I think there's even one small thing that they did that a lot of people probably wouldn't even take notice to. And that I noticed was on the door itself. Now,
oh yeah, we talked about this the other day.
Right, now doors are incredibly controversial because they tend to fail, they pop off, and eventually it no longer functions like you'd want. I think they purposely built these incredibly tight to try and get additional longevity out of it. And I was like, that's actually a pretty interesting choice because when you first get this guy, I mean, you have to kind of like really push down on it, not like the Hori door that just falls over like our Mike did in the unboxing.
Yeah, and another thing that we pointed out in the unboxing that I think is really cool is you have the two holes here that your cord can kind of whichever side you prefer, you know?
So you can run it down the center, you can run it down the left, player 1, player 2. Where are you sitting? Who knows? Could be either one.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's hard to say. Yeah, super cool. You know, I've mentioned before, I'm a fan of removable cables. This is hardwired in, but just like on the Dragon itself, it's very sturdy in there.
Right.
Like you're not going to worry about coming undone like we've talked about with our concerns with the hitbox.
Now, in terms of modding this guy, you notice it does not pop open like the Dragon or like a TE2 does. The bottom casing of this comes off so that you can change out any parts that you'd want to go through, personalize it, and, you know, make it your own internal guts. We are going to be doing a mod video on this guy, so we're not going to talk too much about what you can put in it. We're going to show you what you can put into it. So we're going to crack it open. We're going to change out some of the internals on this guy. One thing we will not be changing out, the artwork.
Because just like with the Dragon, and this is all preferential, this is just our preference, but this is way too beautiful out of box to slap on your generic, hey, I got Ryu over here and some smoke.
Yeah, so I got some fight stick art. Yeah. So the downside is it doesn't have quite that capability where you can just go in and switch the art out. Like I said, I think there'll probably be aftermarket things for that down the road if you do want to put like a layover. Those things will be made. People will figure out a way to do that. Yep. I don't intend to. I intend to keep it exactly as it is because I love the aesthetic. The one thing that I am changing is I'm changing the ball top. Out of the gate, I don't like the Sanwa metallic series.
Because of the fingerprints?
Yeah, the fingerprints. I just don't like the feel.
Is this the exact same ball top that's on the Dragon?
I believe so.
I think so too.
So I ordered a all black aluminum one that's got like just little dimples on it, so it's got a little more texture and grip to it. So you guys will see that when we do the mod video. Now, in terms of the top, it's going to have all the same features that everything else does. Share turbo.
Oh my god.
Turbos engaged.
You guys, we're so all about the turbo
button. The mode button is one of those buttons that I think you could also forego. I don't ever use it. What the mode button does is you can go through basically a D-pad setting, you can go through a left stick setting, or you can change it over to a right stick like you would emulate on your pad. That never seems to come up in fighting games. I think they're truly designed that you don't have to switch that over. If somebody has some suggestions on what they've used that for in the past or maybe even in the future, let us know, because I think that'd be really valuable for the community as a whole.
Real quick, I want to point out, because we'll get to it, but let's talk about the unsung hero that some of you disagree with, but we are big fans. This, much like its counterpart with the Dragon, has a headset port.
3.5 millimeters of audio.
Yep.
This is long overdue in the fight stick industry. This is the staple. If a fight stick comes out after this one and doesn't have it, there better be a really good reason for it.
Yep.
Because it turns out listening to the games is super cool.
It is super cool, especially, you know, we've gone over this before. You understand the deal. You're at a tournament, you want to get in the zone, you want to hear the game, you can just plug in right into your stick. You're labbing with some friends online, you don't want to go through the hassle of Skyping in or going on Discord, just do it in a lobby in the game, just like it's supposed to be.
These games have amazing soundtracks, we want to hear them, and on top of that, it would be semi-ridiculous to not hear some of the cues that they give you. Games like Killer Instinct gives you a lot of audio cues. Street Fighter lets you know when you have actually landed in the first move so that you can confirm and you can stay safe. So it's actually a competitive advantage to a degree.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we won't get into the semantics of it, but for those of you visually impaired players, there's a Killer Instinct player who relies completely on audio cues, and this would be super helpful to him.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I know a Mortal Kombat player who goes through the same thing, so I'd imagine that he also is probably relying on that. So they give you 5 senses. Let's maybe use them instead of trying to neglect them.
See, also, everyone always makes fun of Apple for getting rid of the headset jack, but fight sticks were doing it years before Apple.
Yeah, we're so hipster in that way. Now, this guy does have LEDs on the side. They light up when you touch this side. This one lights up. If you touch the buttons, this side lights up. You can turn them off. It is not noticeable whatsoever when you are playing, so there's nothing distracting to the eye.
Also, there's a third option where you can leave them on indefinitely.
Or just turn them off, like if you wanted to.
Yeah, they're super sexy. I really like the way they look. But like you know, Tim says, you're not going to see it when you're playing unless you're playing in the dark. And then it'll see
and then it's like a really light glow.
It's super cool.
Yeah. A lot of you guys are going to ask about the PCB speed. So we continue to do some primitive testing. And some of our fans previously have suggested that we even buy a high-speed camera to do this. I can tell you what won't happen. That. That's just definitely not
made of money, guys.
That's just not, I think, what we're into necessarily in terms of like testing. I know a lot of people want to create those and they set up the lights and they do the high speed. That I don't think is anything you're probably going to see on this channel anytime soon. I did look into them, but I think we're going to continue doing just primitive testing, like what you would find if you were at an actual tournament, like player A versus player B.
Yeah.
And I can say, I think as far as the primitive testing goes, it is maybe even a hair faster in my results than the Dragon was. And I wouldn't be surprised if they even share one in terms of technology. But when I was putting it up against the TE2 Plus, which is basically the benchmark for fight sticks, they were just dead on.
That's good news.
Yeah, doing the Ryu button tests, and it was really cool because they both stunned at the exact same time. And I was like, that's exactly what you want.
That's great.
Yep. But in the meantime, you might have some questions. Where would you go for questions?
They can go to the comments.
That's right, go to the comments. They're right down there.
You know what else?
Right down there.
Where else could they go?
Just slightly above those, his Twitter.
The what?
His Twitter, my Twitter. Active Twitter people. Right here.
That's crazy.
These two tweeple. Now.
Tweeps.
Subscribe.